Hello and welcome to the Security Breakdown podcast. Very excited to introduce Sophie Jordan, the CEO of the NABCP, and we're going to be talking all about BCRPs, which is going to be really, really fun. But first of all, the Security Breakdown podcast is sponsored by Skills for Security. They are the UK's #1 provider of fire and security training. Right, so BCRPs, Business Crime Reduction Partnerships. Can you tell us what they are?
So a BCRP is an independent, not-for-profit organisation with the sole purpose of preventing crime in local communities. And they do this by bringing a partnership approach involving local businesses, the police, other partner agencies, with the purpose of sharing information, enabling the identification of offenders at a much earlier stage than would be possible if people were working independently and not together.
Cool. Okay. So how many of them are there? Do you know how many there are?
So there's probably about 250 BCRPs in the country. About 100 of those are members of the NABCP, cool. And they all vary in size from, quite small shop watches to very high profile business improvement districts with lots of services that they can bring.
Cool. I remember when I still am new in the security industry, but I remember when I was first, even newer, we had a call, it must have been a year and a half, 2 years ago now, and you were teaching me about what a bid is, what BCRP is, and I was mind blown, somebody outside the security industry that doesn't know that these things exist. Could you explain to everybody else what the difference between a bid and a BCRP is? That's
a really good question. So a BCRP, the sole purpose of the BCRP is to prevent crime, right. And they're funded, so membership is voluntary. So if you're a business within the BCRP area, which is normally quite a large area, normally like a borough-wide area, right. You can choose to be a member of that BCRP. And their sole purpose, like I said, is only to prevent crime. That's all they do. Yep. So whereas a BID is a business improvement district, and right. This is a geographical area, which is normally quite smaller. So it's normally covering the main trading location of a town. And if you're a business and you have your business located within that geographical area, you're automatically a member of the business improvement district.
Right, okay.
And so you'll pay an additional BID levy, so on your business rates, which that levy goes to the BID. They also have lots of other priorities as well. So to make it a safe, welcoming environment, putting on events to bring more people into the area, and also safe and secure, which would be the BCRP element of it. So it just depends if you're a BID, how much of your budget you're spending on the BCRP aspect.
Right, so a BID is focused on lots of different things, and they're more confined to a certain area than a BCRP is.
That's right, and it's all about driving the economic success of that local area.
Right, whereas BCRP, the benefit of that is not only the wider, but their whole focus is security.
Exactly that.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. What kind of rate do you get? Like, how do you approach businesses? Do businesses even know a BCRP exists?
So in most areas there'll either be a BID or a BCRP.
Okay.
So they're not operating in the same areas generally.
Right.
There would be. Often the BID would take on the role of the BCRP if there is a BID. And I think, rightly so, that's a very good project arm for the BIDs to be running as well. I think more awareness does need to be done with businesses to let people know about BCRPs, because if you talk to people and explain what a BCRP is, they're like, oh, okay, but when you say, have you seen the radio in your local shop and people talking, and oh, of course I know what that is.
Yeah.
So people have different experiences of it, but they know it's kind of operating, but it's getting the knowledge out there about how vast the remit is and the holistic approach encompassing all aspects of crime and antisocial behaviour in a town centre that the BCRP as well actually delivers.
Yeah, that's very cool. BID's been around longer than BCRPs.
BCRPs have been around longer.
Oh, have they?
Yes,
cool.
They've been around for about over 30 years,
maybe
30 to 40 years. So they started off with being shop watch and pub watch.
Right, yeah.
And then these developed into a more sophisticated product, which is the BCRP, that are fully integrated within the local community safety unit with the police and the council, partnerships with the CCTV operator, so it's all interlinked as a partnership model. And then BIDs came around a bit after that as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, so how does the NABCP fit into that then? What does that sit and what does that do?
So BCRPs are sharing information, they're sharing data, which relates to real life living data subjects. So we need to be careful with that information and make sure it's handled properly.
Right.
We, NABCP, provide best practice and guidance and education for, and also the accreditation for bids and BCRPs to make sure it's being done properly. We're asking the police to share data with us. We're asking retailers to share information, and we're sharing that information back out to local businesses and staff working on the ground. So we need to make sure that's done properly. So that's where NABCP come in. We're here to educate the local BCRP managers. We have monthly campfire chats once a month as well, where we have guest speakers who come on. And it's all about educating and training the managers who are on the ground working how to be doing their job properly, compliantly. So we have that direct support to the bid and BCRP managers.
Yep.
But our other arm is raising awareness of BCRPs.
Yeah.
So meetings regularly with the Home Office, with ministers, lots of remit that we have in terms of getting within the national representative voice of bids and BCRPs. So making sure we're keeping that them sustainable, and just getting their voice out there of all the good work that they're doing.
That's cool. And you mentioned, we had a chat before about BCRPs and how they're funded, and you said they're funded through the payments that the people that sign up, contribute. Is there any possibility that there could ever be any government funding or anything like that? Because a bid's funded. Well, they're funded by the levy. Are they funded anyway through government?
So there will be little pockets of money available. So, for example, we've had the Safer Streets Fund as well, where lots of BCRPs and bids have been successful in getting money from Safer Streets. There's quite a large chunks of money were available there.
Cool.
But those are one-off payments.
Yeah.
I would love BCRPs to be statutory, to actually be written in, and they really should be, because it's a multi-agency approach. The BCRP is the glue that's holding the area together in terms of that partnership approach, and making sure they're delivering things like the Safer Business Action Week and all other safety initiatives. So ideally, I would like to see real sustainable funding for BCRPs.
That'd be great if you could get that. And I didn't realise there was funding through Safer Business Action Week and stuff like that as well, and that's great. And it's made, I've noticed it, and I'm sure the people watching, if you're on LinkedIn, the buzz around those weeks for the last year or two since they've been going has been, or since I've seen them, that's been great, like for the profile, for lifting it up.
Definitely. So we've just released our report as well from last year's, so November's Safer Business Action Week. And it's fantastic to see the breadth of scale of what was going on across the country. And somebody put a comment on LinkedIn that they were going to make a list of all the BCRPs that were involved in Safer Business Action Week, but the list was just so long because everybody was involved. They sent in their good news stories and photographs. We've done this report that's just been released. Massive piece of work, 38 pages, but lots of pictures and snippets and bullet points, so you can really kind of see that they brought the week alive. By sharing these photographs and stories from the week and the successes and outcomes. Yeah,
it's great. Well, how serious do you think retail and business crime are in the UK right now?
So it's massively serious. The British Retail Consortium estimate that there were 20 million incidents of shop theft the year before last. They're just about to release shortly to release the new annual survey as well for retail crime. So by comparison, that 20 million of estimated of actual offences, only about less than 500,000 were actually reported to the police. So there's a massive gap. We've got a huge issue with violence and abuse against shop staff as well, with about 70% of staff saying that they've had abuse or threatening behaviour or harassment within the last year. So absolutely massive. And
That's
about
huge,
a quarter of people who work in shops saying that they get abused on a daily basis. So, it's really not a good place at the moment. Aside to that, we've got antisocial behaviour, cost of living crisis. It is an issue at the moment.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it, to think it's that bad. And a quarter of staff on a daily basis, that's an epidemic, isn't it? It's horrible. Well, okay, what makes an accredited BCRP different from a non-accredited one?
So the accreditation is the gold standard of BCRP delivery. We look at all of the different aspects of a BCRP, from their governance to their data sharing, systems and protocols and policies and procedures. And we make sure they actually are operating in line with those policies as well. So we'll check their Intel platform to make sure that's also in line with how their operating policies are. Make sure the communication's effective as well, how they're actually talking and engaging their members and mobilising the community to actually work with them and be involved. And so it's just operationally and making sure they're being the best that they can be. It's a great opportunity for BCRPs to showcase their good work as well.
Cool.
So we're asking retailers and police to be sharing information with us. So we need to make sure it's being done properly.
Yeah.
So the accreditation is that seal of approval.
Yeah.
So the Metropolitan Police have requested that all of the bids and BCRPs in the Metropolitan London area are all accredited.
That's cool.
Or otherwise they won't get an information sharing agreement with the Metropolitan Police. So they're
really
actually using that as the Met's own justification that these BCRPs are working really well.
They must really appreciate and value the accreditation level you put on to say that.
Yes.
So did they have any hand in helping you create that accreditation, or how have they got that perception?
So, well, the National Business Crime Centre are very much involved with the accreditation, and they're on the National Standards Board, and they were the driving force behind a big review of the accreditation last year as well. And the National Business Crime Centre sits within the City of London Police.
Yeah.
So, very much partnership working in making sure this standard is what's needed for the industry.
Amazing. Brilliant. So the accreditation is going to give people knowledge and confidence that not only they're doing the right thing by the NABCP standards, but by the NBCCC, because they helped you create it.
That's right. And the accreditation is also a growth process as well. You know, we want to see BCRPs evolving, demonstrating their worth, their value, and it's a learning process between the person being assessed and the assessor. Our assessors some have worked for 25 years in BCRPs. They know so much.
Yeah.
And we're also about making sure that the BCRPs are upping their standards all the time. So it's always about, it's not a pass or fail, it's about raising standards. And that's what we're here to do, is to raise the standards.
Sharing best practice, and rather than just saying, no, you're not good enough, come back in a year, actually helping them reach that.
Yeah, we do sometimes have to do that as well.
Okay.
And somebody can be graded a working towards accreditation.
Right.
So if we have an accreditation presented to us and we just feel there's a little bit too much more work that we can work for the next couple of months, we will grade them as working towards. They can come back in a year's time once they've put into place all of our recommendations, and also evidencing as well, because the evidencing is a massive part of it as well, because we can all say, yes, we're doing this, but we need to see that you're doing it.
Yeah, I guess accreditation is not worth the value it's printed on if everybody passes. It's too easy, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be a benchmark, and you must be holding that. As much as it'd be nice for everybody to walk through, it's not doing its purpose then, is it?
No.
Why should a retailer join a BCRP or engage with a BCRP rather than tackling crime alone? How do they benefit from BCRP?
Well, the first thing I want to say is, if you're a retailer, your shop is in a community, and your staff probably live in that community. Your customers probably do as well.
Yeah.
So it's about it's a community issue. Just like most crime it's happening in a community. Your business is in that community. You're part of it. So for that aspect, they should. But also in terms of identification of offenders, if you're just one shop and you're being targeted by people you don't know who they are, the BCRP holds the key to that information, because we're receiving the reports of unknown offenders from multiple businesses. So we can spot the trends. We can see the same person offending across lots of different businesses. And there's a crossover as well, because they're not just shoplifters. They might be stealing a handbag in a pub, or be begging.
Yeah.
People's offending behaviour crosses so many different sectors.
Yeah.
So I bring everybody together as a team with the local organisations as well, like the homeless charity, the drug and alcohol charity, the probation service, the police, the council.
Yeah.
We're all sharing information together, so we know who these people are, and we can make sure that they're getting the help that they need. Or they're called to justice if that needs to happen, if they're arrested, and that everything's in place to prevent them from doing that behaviour.
So do you do, as part of the BCRP role, you said about bringing people to justice. I think I remember somebody from BCRP saying before that they helped in evidence gathering. They said for civil cases as well. Is that the case?
So there can be civil cases, yes, and there can be like civil recovery as well to regain your losses. But the main thing would be the criminal behaviour orders. So BCRPs play a massive role in helping the police and courts secure criminal behaviour orders through that evidencing. As we said before, only a fraction of incidents are actually reported to the police. But you'll find in an area that nearly everything is reported to the local BCRP. And for example, attempts. If someone's attempted to steal, if somebody's been deterred from stealing, those things will be put on the as an incident report on the BCRP software platform, whereas they wouldn't probably reach that threshold of warranting being reported to the police. The other thing that we'd log is exclusion breaches. So if somebody's on a ban and they're entering the shop and the staff are having to approach them and say, I'm sorry, you're not allowed in here, you're banned, that would be logged as an exclusion breach. So when somebody is ready to go to court, the police will often say to us, would you please provide a business impact statement? And we can provide these statements not only on behalf of one business, but on behalf of the entire membership of the BCRP. So, and we'll have a log of maybe 50 or 70 incidents of one individual, all the times that they've tried to go into a shop, the staff have had to ask them to leave, it makes the staff feel uncomfortable. They've tried to steal, been deterred, tried 5 different shops, back to back, constantly. We can demonstrate the persistence of somebody's offending behaviour. So when that goes to the court, we can really demonstrate the impact on the local community of an individual, and therefore more likely to be granted a criminal behaviour order.
That's great. So you can, exactly how you said, you wouldn't report somebody necessarily breaching, not being permitted into a store. You're not going to report that to the police because it's just not severe enough. It would be like a waste of time. But you can build up that more detailed picture of what someone's behaviour is.
Yes.
Can I ask as well, I learned recently, and this was from an officer, sometimes you'd be surprised how difficult it is to share data, even within police forces, from force to force, from borough to borough. And that's one area that somebody said to me, BCRPs are great at doing that. So is that something that's easy, sharing from one BCRP to the next one?
So yes, it absolutely can be, because a lot of BCRPs use the same software platforms. So there's kind of 3 major providers of software platforms in the UK. They're Disk, SentrySys and ShopSafe Alert. So those are the platforms that are used in the local communities by the people working the shops, administered by the BCRPs. So you have cross-platform sharing. Also, BCRP managers will have secure email, so they can send it by their secure email to different managers. So a lot of, several actually, not a lot yet, but hoping to see it improve, actually employ an evidence gatherer to go around. So when they know something's been reported to the BCRP, we know that has to be reported to the police. That's essential for that incident to be reported. So we'll go and visit the business, say, could you please make sure that incident's reported to the police? And they can even help with statement writing and collecting the CCTV. So at the time that incident is reported, the police have everything that they need. When they do arrest that person, they're able to get a charge on that person immediately. They're able to immediately charge them rather than having to bail them and then wait for them to come back to when they have the evidence.
So that basically, so I'm understanding that right. So that means that the expertise within the BCRP is advising the retailer when that needs to be escalated to the police. Because I'm imagining, is it right in saying that the retailer has to do it themselves? You can't do it on their behalf, or can you?
So you can do it on their behalf, as long as somebody's prepared to give a statement and CCTV.
You've got engagement from them. But that's great. So this is another way that a retailer is going to benefit from BCRP then, having that. You're going to log the small things with your BCRP, which is great for building up that detailed picture. But then you've got the advice and the expertise to know when to take it further, and to, as you said, you're dealing with this. BCRP is crime specific, so you've got more experience, whereas one shop have only got their own issues.
And they don't see the bigger picture. So they might see one offence where somebody was deterred and they managed to get the stock back as they were leaving the shop, but they don't realise that person's done that 5 times already today and got away with it and were abusive, or, so it's about having that bigger picture on everything. BCRPs are generally the only organisation that has the entire overview of crime and antisocial behaviour in a local area, because it's not reported to the police. So we're collating all that information to build up this entire intelligence picture.
Yeah. What would you say are the biggest mistake that retailers make when they're working with BCRPs?
Not engaging enough.
Not engaging.
So really it needs to be, if I had it my way in an ideal world, part of a store manager's job description that they should be engaging with it. If they're a member, if you're paying into the scheme, they should be engaging with the local BCRP, and that means using the BCRP radio, logging on every day, actively participating, using the app as well, the Intel sharing app, attending briefings and meetings, knowing who the bad guys are that we're trying to notify you about, and reporting incidents when they happen as well. And just that active participation, really active. And for area managers as well, to make that link. Know who your local BCRPs are. If you've got a patch, covering a few counties, know exactly who the BCRP managers are. Build those relationships, because we're here to help, and we want to help. And we just need that engagement and people to want to work with us.
Because if you're not getting the engagement, for example, they're providing you essentially with the data, aren't they, to make better decisions for everybody?
Yes.
So if and I guess from you saying that, some people are just thinking that the payment is going to solve all their problems. Like, we're paying into the BCRP, so we're fine.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
No, you need that active participation, you really do. And data sharing as well is really important for retailers to be sharing their information with BCRPs as well, sharing data. Very important. We have information sharing agreements with retailers, accredited BCRPs. You can tell that what we're doing is working well. Police forces share with us. We have information sharing agreements with police. Police will disclose a photograph of somebody, a convicted image of the police system, their name, their date of birth, their address. So the police are disclosing really personal information to us to enable us to tackle crime. It just seems ludicrous that some retailers won't disclose a CCTV image of somebody, a time, a date of when the incident happened, and the details of the incident that could possibly involve theft, violence, abuse, and to enable us to help us solve that crime for you.
So do you think retailers aren't sharing that information because they don't know what they're allowed to do, or what?
I think there's a lot of confusion at the moment about the different software platforms that are out there for people to use. So, as I said before, there's three main software platforms that BCRPs use, which are secure platforms. There's several reporting systems that retailers use for internal reporting as well.
Right,
Unfortunately, these systems don't speak to each other. Yeah. So retailers are saying, well, we will only report our information on the internal reporting system because that's our policy, especially for larger retailers. And unfortunately, the information is not getting through to us, in certain cases.
So whose responsibility, I suppose, because obviously I would imagine that the three that you mentioned earlier, the three software providers that BCRPs work with, I could see them, if I was them, from a business case perspective, I'm sure they'd be doing everything they can to try and talk to those internal systems.
They absolutely
why would they
are.
not? So really, that's on the retailers, that why would you not, retailers out there, those of you that are doing that, sort yourselves out. Like, why would you not be sharing that information when you're going to help your own reporting and you're going to help the wider community have more information to deal with? That's a shame. Well, I hope that has that come far down the line, or is it still in the same place? I can imagine that there's some retailers that had that problem a certain amount of time ago and they've solved it. Have you seen any positive cases?
Not as of yet, I wouldn't say. I would hope for the future that we will get there.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. Well, from my own selfish perspective, as a security vendor at Smokescreen, how can we engage and get the best value and make ourselves valuable to BCRPs or other security vendors? What could we do?
So I think it's all about that engagement and relationships, really. So if we understand your product and you understand our product, then we could, we have that understanding to pass those messaging on. So I think it's all about relationships and making sure that we fully understand each other's workspaces. I think especially for the security vendors to really fully understand what BCRPs do, because it's so vast from different projects in terms of youth intervention, dealing with all different types of people with various issues, all the community safety work that we do as well in terms of delivering safe spaces, Ask for Angela, things like the Best Bar None accreditation scheme. The fact is as well that BCRPs deliver so much more than just retail crime.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at a high street now, the proportion of retailers has shrunk massively. You know, we've got more and more fast food places and hospitality, pubs, clubs, libraries, any public-facing business can be a member of the BCRP. And it's, yes, retail crime still is a core element of what BCRPs deliver, but we also represent all those other businesses and their customers as well. So it's really important to think about that. So certainly security vendors who, provide guarding as well, making sure that the guards are fully engaged with the BCRP, let them know that, you want them to attend the meetings and come along and be part of that community. So I think that would be really helpful. And again, it's just all about that engagement.
Yeah, I think understanding the products and learning more, that's what you helped me with when I first started years ago. I remember that one of the best things about us collaborating together with some of the events we were on, there was new products for me to learn about in the industry. And I said this to you when we were chatting about some events earlier, Fight Back events, for those out there that remember. We were talking about how you can learn so much, and for example, gave the example again of camera manufacturers, how even if you think you know it all, in 6 months there's something else. There's something new to learn for retailers and for us. So you think understanding, that's why I suppose events are quite important, and social media, I guess, as well. You even, as an anecdote, you even noted something about one of our products back to me the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, it does land.
I was paying attention.
Yeah, it was good. So I think, so working together and listening and actually engaging and doing something seems to be the theme running through this. That's what you want from retailers. That's what security vendors need to do, is get involved, I guess. Right, brilliant. Okay, so actually this kind of goes into that. So what does good collaboration between police, retailers and the private sector look like?
It's based on trust as well. Right. It really is. Accreditation for BCRPs, knowing that you can trust your local BCRP. Partnership working, of course, multi-agency approach to everything, and knowing that everybody has their role to play. Yeah. Everybody's bringing their different skills to the picture, and everything is valuable, just as we've seen with the Fight Back events as well. No one single product is going to solve everything. The police are not going to arrest their way out of crime. No. We all need to work together. We really do. And also when we're looking at business improvement districts, the use of private security as well. The fact that the streets now have SIA qualified people there dealing with the issues that we see, like antisocial behaviour and other issues in the public area. I think that partnership working really will come a long way, and we really want these people, the security providers, to have a seat round that multi-agency table as well, with the real vital role that they're playing. And then to change the subject slightly, what can you tell me about the BCRP Awards? Oh, exciting. Yeah. So NABCP hasn't done awards for quite some time, actually. Okay. So we've now launched the National BCRP Award. So we've got 4 categories, looking at nighttime economy, innovation, accreditation, and also data as well. Cool. We're lucky to have sponsors for each award as well. So they will be giving a nice gift voucher to the winners. And both the winners and runners-up will get £100 off their NABCP membership for the coming year as well. And we've also got another sponsor that's jumped on board as well, and for all the runners-up and winners, they'll be getting a nice little goodie bag sent to their office as well. Very nice. So there are prizes, but the main part of it is, of course, showcasing the amazing work that's happening. Yeah. We want to hear about all the projects that are happening across the country, all the best practice, all the best of the best, and we're going to put it all in one big newsletter and report and let everybody see, so we can learn from each other, we can showcase the work of BCRPs, and there's no point in reinventing the wheel. If we want to do something similar in our own area, we can take that best practice and bring it to our own area and tweak it for our own local needs as well. So the awards is all about, again, sharing best practice and just focusing and highlighting and promoting the excellent work that's happening out there. And I'm already seeing the applications are so varied as well, with so many different scope. The innovation out there is amazing. So really exciting time. It must be nice. I always think awards, I guess,
BCRPs can self-nominate within them, of course. But it's nice to celebrate, even if you don't win the award, somebody putting something forward, to be proud enough to put it forward is a really positive thing internally, even if you don't win. But that's really good. When is it drawn, and is it an event, or what's it going to be run like?
So we're not having an actual physical awards ceremony. The plan will be to announce the winners during Safer Business Action Week.
Cool.
So, sorry, not Safer Business Action Week, BCRP Awareness
Right,
Week.
yeah.
And that's going to be the 16th of March this year. So the winners will be notified a week or so before.
Yeah.
So they'll have time to take a photo with their certificate, and the week of BCRP Awareness Week,
Yeah.
that will be our kind of main campaign in terms of like social media and getting those winners out there with a description of their project as well, and a nice photograph of them as well.
Nice, great. That's going to be fun. You mentioned BCRP Awareness Week. Well, what is it trying to achieve? And Safer Business Action Week as well. Are they exactly the same, or?
No, they're very different. So Safer Business Action Week is all about action. So it's all about scheduling a whole week or a day of events, working with as many partners as possible, and actually taking action to prevent crime, whether that's through training events, actual physical action with the police, deterring, arresting, seeking who the nominals are. So setting your top 10 persons of note at the beginning of the week and saying these are the people, briefing everybody, saying these are the ones we need to look out for. If they do anything, report them to the police, call the police on the radio, and these are people who are going to be taking action, identifying new offenders, and just looking at that snapshot of a week of throwing everything at it, making sure everyone's using the radio, everybody's engaged. It's a massive boost, a massive drive for engagement. And it's not just about that 1 week, because the effects are really long-lived. They'll go on for months, because it's a boost. It's about getting in there, visiting as many people as you can during that week, ramping up engagement, and just watching it all flow out over the next few months as well. So it has a really long-lasting effect. Even one day of action, and getting everybody involved and motivated. So it's like a motivational week, but a lot of action involved as well.
Okay.
Whereas the BCRP Awareness Week is about raising the profile of BCRPs and just showcasing what you're doing every day. So a lot of the comments I had, so we had the first ever BCRP week last year. And the comments that I got from the BCRPs was, this is actually so much easier than Safer Business Action Week, because all we have to do is do what we do every day, but just tell you about it. So it's just business as usual, but shining a spotlight on it.
Yeah.
So I would still say to people, have a nice schedule of events, but it's all about publicity for that, raising the profile of the BCRPs. They're the unsung heroes. They've been working away for decades in the background, on limited funding, limited resources, providing really, really vital role. And it's really time for them to be put in the spotlight now.
That's cool. I didn't actually realise, it sounds so obvious now I hear Safer Business Action Week. The clue should have been in the title, but I didn't even think about it in that way. I was viewing them both in the same way, and they're both really positive, but that's good to differentiate. I like the idea of shining a spotlight on everyday events. That's really nice. Where do you see business crime reduction heading over the next 5 years? Where would you like it to go?
Okay, so I think now is the time that we're seeing more emphasis on the importance of BCRPs than ever before. We're seeing more and more bids spending more of their budget on safe and secure aspects and more BCRP work. So I think now is the time that we need to really kind of throw everything at this issue that we have, that I described earlier. And I think, just basically, now's the time that we need to really shine a spotlight on the work that's going on. I see a lot of progress in the physical barriers as well to prevent shoplifting as well. So physical deterrence, also the partnership work in the engagement aspect as well. In 5 years' time, I think that bids will be doing a lot more in crime prevention. I think retailers are asking a lot more questions now for the levy that they're paying in. What are you doing to combat crime and antisocial behaviour? Right. So I see more of a lead in it in that way as well.
What's the one thing that the security industry still doesn't understand about BCRPs?
I think all the vast holistic scope of what BCRPs do in terms of safety and crime prevention. and the roles that they play in our communities. Along with that, the difference in the tech that's out there. There's so many different, in terms of software for BCRPs to use and retailers as incident reporting systems. The number of incident reporting systems out there, what their purpose is, what's for BCRPs to use, what's for a retailer to use, the fact that these are two very, very different things, and data sharing. Absolutely. So we need to get the data sharing right as well. The BCRPs need to have that information coming straight to them directly in a timely manner, because it's really important that BCRPs get this in a timely manner, because the BCRPs are the only organisations that are stopping crime in their tracks. Stopping crime in its tracks is absolutely, when something happens, it's live. It's happening real time in the moment. It's not happening 2 weeks later that we're dealing with this incident. No. We're dealing with it now, and we're stopping these people from entering your shops. So without data, we can't do that. Without information shared, we can't do that live, real time in the moment crime prevention, which is the unique aspect of what BCRPs do. So I'd like to see, data sharing needs to be swift. CCTV, provision of CCTV to police in a swift manner. We need to, retailers have a proper process for providing that, because when the police arrest somebody, they want to charge them. And without the evidence, you can't make a charge. So the police, while that person's in custody, they need a statement and they need the CCTV. And if it takes 2 weeks to get the CCTV, it's no good, because you have to then release that person, bail them and release them, and hope they're going to come back in a couple of weeks' time. Whereas if they can make a charge immediately, and that person's then bound to that charge. So proper systems in place for CCTV, providing that to the police.
That's really, I never thought about that. Never thought about that limited window that you've got for getting the information from the police. To the police. So you would like to see it streamlined, people giving the data, giving it timely and giving it accurately. And then also sharing it in the first place, as we mentioned earlier, like the police are giving BCRPs great data, but the retailers aren't doing it the opposite way around.
Yes.
So that's the call. That's what we want. Those things will make everything better. Great. Well, thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you for joining us. I learned loads, as normal. If you've got any comments for Sophie, you can contact her directly on LinkedIn, or you can leave a comment below and we will ask the question for you. But thank you very much for joining us on the Security Breakdown. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.